Yeah, nah, nah, nah.
Hey everyone, Mr. DVB here. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the newest film from writer-director Jordan Peele, Nope. So this is a movie that I have had on my radar for quite a while. I've been intrigued by this movie ever since the first teaser poster that was released, I don't know how long ago. As far as the trailers go, again, I was intrigued by them. I thought they looked interesting. Wasn't entirely sure what this movie was going to be, concept-wise and genre or style-wise. It was something that definitely caught my eye, though. When it comes to Jordan Peele's previous work, I actually still to this day have not seen Get Out. I know I have to watch it. It's considered to be a great horror movie. Just haven't gotten around to seeing it. As far as Us goes, I watched it on a flight from, I believe, London, England to somewhere in Canada. So probably not the greatest viewing experience, but I wasn't really a fan of it from what I remember. It's something, again, I probably need to watch a second time just because, I was watching it on a flight, which is not the greatest area to watch a movie. But it just didn't entirely work for me. There was things I liked and a lot of things I didn't really care for. So I didn't have any set expectations for Nope going into it because I don't have a lot of history with this director. I just thought it looked intriguing and that was about it. Coming out of it, though, I liked the movie. I think there's a lot to think about after watching this film. It can be viewed as a straightforward movie, from start to finish, but there's also a lot of stuff in this movie that I'm sort of still thinking about and kind of pondering on after having seen it, which I liked, right? Sometimes I find movies, for example, a lot of A24 films, I recently watched Men, a lot of movies like that are just very much so about the deeper meaning and the metaphors and stuff, and so people looking for a more casual, straightforward movie, when the film's finished, they're like, I don't care about what this movie means, I didn't care for it. Whereas with something like this, there is things you can think about after it to find the meaning of and whatnot, but you can also think of it as a straightforward movie. So I like that. I like when films are like that and not just one or the other. But yeah, overall, the movie's story is kind of hard to describe because they have kept it pretty much under wraps. They have revealed that it is about aliens in some way, shape, or form. So this movie follows my brother and sister duo who own a ranch that have a bunch of horses. This has been their family business for a very long time, owning horses in Hollywood, and there's some alien presence going on that they're trying to get proof of. And that is, I guess, how I would summarize this movie's plot. There's some other things, but that is what it's about for the most part. And it's a very unique, interesting movie. I'll start off with the cast first. Daniel Kaluuya. I liked him in this movie. My dad, who I saw this film with, wasn't a huge fan of his character. His character is very reserved and held back, and there is a reason for it in the story, but my dad was just saying that he didn't find him to be the most connectable character, and I can certainly see that. I still thought his performance was good, but again, it's one that's very held back and reserved because of something with the character's storyline. On the complete opposite end of that is his sister, played by Keke Palmer, who is much more energetic and filled with life, and really liked her performance as well. She definitely brought a lot of the humor to the movie. The film's humor I thought was good for the most part. There was some stuff that didn't really work for me, but there was other moments that I found quite funny. Other members of the cast, I honestly don't remember anybody else's name in this movie, and I should have probably checked that before. But the guy who kind of helps them set up the cameras and whatnot, I liked his character. I thought his performance was good. And then there's the older guy who is, the expert on film and stuff, and he's not in it a ton, but I liked him. I thought he was good as well. And finally, Steven Yeun, Glenn from Walking Dead. Really liked him in this movie. He has kind of an interesting backstory that is one of the things this movie is kind of leaving me thinking about afterwards, because it doesn't necessarily feel like it connects with the rest of the film. But, again, there are some things symbolically or just, visual stuff that's kind of sticking in my head that I do think could connect to the rest of the movie. So that's one of those things where this film does leave you thinking and pondering certain things afterwards. But yeah, all that stuff I thought was really good. Despite having not seen Get Out, I have seen clips of it and whatnot, and I have seen Us, and I definitely would say that this is Jordan Peele's most grand film in the sense of scale and scope and everything. It is shot with IMAX cameras, so this movie is, playing in that format, which is what I saw it in, and it definitely feels like it is made for that format because, again, it deals with a lot of scale. The cinematographer, I think I read this online, I could be wrong, I believe I read that it was Hoyt van Hoytema. If that's true, that is the same cinematographer who did films like Dunkirk, Interstellar, I believe Tenet as well, so somebody who has worked with Nolan and is used to that IMAX sense of scale and everything, and this movie definitely uses that very well. There is some really great cinematography in this movie, just the shots of the sky and stuff, and the alien thing moving around, really cool. All that stuff. I mean, this film definitely has a very big theatrical presence to it, which I really liked. The sound design was also great as well. There's some really awesome stuff with music here and whatnot. I really liked the score for this film. I thought it was excellent. Definitely one of my favorite scores of the year so far. But yeah, all that stuff from a technical level, loved all of it. I liked the story of the movie, like I said. There were some things that might feel slightly out of place to people, like I said, with Stephen Young's backstory. But again, I do think there is a way to kind of tie that into the rest of the film's themes, perhaps. It's just something that has to be kind of thought on more for me to fully say where I stand on that. But overall, really liked it. Like I said, technical stuff was great. Cinematography overall, lots of really cool shots here. Really liked what they did with the alien thing in this movie. I'm not going to dive into it for spoiler reasons, but I did think it was really cool. Another thing I want to talk about real quick is the genre or tone of the movie, because that is something that I was sort of questioning going into it, because I kind of heard some different things online. Typically, the other two films that Jordan Peele has made have been straight up horror films for the most part. Definitely Get Out was more psychological, and then Us was, I'd say, more standard horror. This film's genre, I would not classify it as horror. There's certainly horror elements, more so in the first third, but as things sort of get going, towards the third act especially, the movie feels more thriller-like to me. And one film that I actually found myself comparing it to, and I've heard this comparison made online, and it might sound kind of weird, but it reminded me a lot of Jaws, and especially in the third act. If you guys see the movie and you kind of think about Jaws and how the third act of Jaws works, you might be able to see where that connection is. Because yeah, it did give me heavy Jaws feels, which I liked. And in general, it definitely has a very Spielberg presence to it. Definitely, I would say Peele's, again, I haven't seen Get Out, so I can't really say best directed since I've only seen one other of his films, but I feel like this is the film that definitely has, the most of his own kind of flair to it, the most of his spectacle and whatnot. So all that stuff, really, really good. But again, the movie I would not say is a straight-up horror film, so don't go into it expecting that. You'll be disappointed. It's not to say that there isn't thrilling or exciting moments. There's one scene in particular that I did actually think was kind of terrifying, which I'm not going to say because it's a spoiler, but it was just a really creepy scene, and the sound design in that scene in particular was something that definitely irked me. So that moment I really liked. Overall, the film, I mean, the horror elements of it, whatever you want to call it, are the kind that I like, where it's just something that kind of puts you on the edge of your seat and gives you that kind of offsetting feel in your body, where something just, it kind of irks you, it feels disturbing almost. This movie definitely gave me that at times, and that's when horror is most effective for me. So it does all that stuff very well. Performances are good, like I said. The only thing I could see being my main negative with this movie is it does take a while to get going, in my opinion. I kind of felt like the movie didn't really pick up until about an hour in. Not to say that I disliked the first hour. I still liked the build-up. I still liked the interactions with the characters and everything. But it is the kind of thing where I feel like if I was to rewatch this movie, it would be more of an issue then. Because there are films I've seen in the past where there are slower burns, but I'm very intrigued and what's going on. An example would be Blade Runner 2049. A movie that has a lot of interesting stuff going on in its story. You're learning things, unraveling things. Visually, it's spectacular. But whenever I rewatch Blade Runner 2049, I am a little bored, to be honest. I mean, it's still a really well-made movie and everything, but it's not that exciting on rewatch. And that's how I think this movie could be, where with its first half, where it just takes a while for things to get going, and that might be something that is harder to sit through on a rewatch. So, again, not an issue with my current playthrough of there or current watch of the movie, but it is something that I feel like would be an issue in the future. So yeah, overall though, really liked Nope. It's a very interesting movie. Not what I was entirely expecting, but I like that about it. Like I said, gave me lots of Jaws feels, gave me kind of Cloverfield feels in a way almost. Either Cloverfield or even 10 Cloverfield Lane, and those are both very different films, but I kind of got the same vibe from both of those movies. So really cool overall. Definitely a film worth checking out in my opinion. So thank you guys for watching this video. I will see you in my next review, which will probably be for Bullet Train. I will be seeing it. I don't know if I'll review it. There are some movies I've seen this year, quite a bit actually, that I just haven't got around to reviewing on this channel. An example of one of them is Elvis. I saw that a couple weeks ago. Just never reviewed it. So I'm thinking about maybe doing kind of a movie catch-up video where I just discuss films that I've seen this year, ones that I have seen, ones that I haven't seen, kind of refreshing you guys with my thoughts on them and everything before the year wraps up, which isn't still for a few months, but just so when I get to the end of the year and I do make my top 10 lists and stuff, my opinion on more films is out there. Anyways, see you guys in the next one. Also, one more addition I forgot to mention is that there was a teaser trailer for this movie before it started for Oppenheimer, which is the next film from Christopher Nolan. It's not coming out for, I believe, exactly a year to the day, but there was a trailer for it. It's a very, very minimal trailer. Like, if you guys remember when Tenet had its teaser trailer in front of some movie, I don't know which one it was very minimal. It was literally just a shot of John David Washington walking down a hallway and like touching this like mirror or like this window that had a crack on it, and the crack was kind of reversed. It was like that, right? Just a super short teaser that kind of shows you nothing, but still got me excited. I'm still very excited for that movie because it's made by Nolan and it has a stacked cast. So that was my other quick addition.